Here we have a pre-calculus problem. Okay, let's go the information. So there is a cubic function given over here. That is f of x equals to negative x cube positive b x square positive c x positive d. The function passes through the points 90, 12, 0, 12, 0, p, 0, and 0, 2088, where p is less than negative 12. What is the value for b positive, c positive, d? Okay, here we have a cubic function. In this cubic function, we have to find the value of the three constants over here, b, c, and d, so that I can get the value of b positive, c positive, d. Okay, since it's a cubic function, if I write this function in factor form, how many linear factors will I get? I'll be getting 3 linear factors, because the degree of the cubic function is 3. So I'll be getting 3 linear factors. So now we can, to get the values of b, c, and d, we can try to write the given cubic function in factored form, where we get 3 linear factors. So how is it possible? So to get 3 linear factors for the given cubic function, so we have to consider the points given over here. So we have 4 points given through which the graph of the given function is passing. Okay, so in these 4 points, let's consider only the first 3 points. So because the first 3 points represent x-intercepts. Because in all the first 3 points, the y coordinate is 0. So the first 3 points represent x coordinates. Okay, so how can we get the 3 linear factors from these 3 x-intercepts? So for that, what I need to do is I have to consider the x coordinate in each x-intercept. So the first x-intercept, the x coordinate is negative 12. Okay, to get the linear factor corresponding to this x-intercept, what I need to do is I have to make the right side 0. For that, I have to add 12 to both sides. When I do so, this negative 12 positive 12 will cancel out. I'm getting x positive 12 equals to 0. So this is a linear factor corresponding to the x-intercept negative 12, 0. The same thing we have to do with the other 2 x-intercepts. Let me consider the second x-intercept, particularly the x coordinate in the second x-intercept, that is 12. So then x equals to 12. So we have to make the right side 0. So I subtract 12 from both sides. When I do so, the positive 12, negative 12 will cancel out. I'm getting x negative 12 equals to 0. So this is a linear factor corresponding to this x-intercept 12, 0. Now let me consider the x coordinate, the third x-intercept, that is p. Then we get x equals to p. Let me subtract p from both sides. When I do so, this positive p, negative p will cancel out. I'm getting x negative p equals to 0. So this is a factor corresponding to this x-intercept. Okay, now I got the three linear factors for the given cubic function. So let me write. So first, let me write a constant a. Then I write the linear factors one by one. So x positive 12, then x negative 12, and x negative p. Okay, here you may have a question. Where did I get this constant a? So whenever I find a function from its factors, first I have to write the product of the factors of the function. In front of the product of the factors, always I have to write a constant, which is called the leading coefficient. So what is leading coefficient? Leading coefficient is a coefficient of the variable which has the largest exponent. In the given function over here, what is the leading coefficient? So this is a term where we have largest exponent for the variable x. What number do we have in front of x? We just have to assume there is 1 because we don't find any number. Then what is the coefficient of x cube? It's negative 1. So here the leading coefficient is negative 1. So that's the value of a over here. So we write the given function in factor form over here. So from the given function, we got the leading coefficient negative 1. And here the leading coefficient is a. So that is a equals to clearly negative 1. So here we can replace this a by negative 1. Then the function will become f of x equals to negative 1. We can plug in negative 1 for a, or simply negative x positive 12 times x negative 12 times x negative p. Because even if I write negative 1 times this factor will be the same. So simply we can write negative instead of negative 1 for a. Okay, now I got the function in factor form. Okay, but still in this factor form, there is an unknown constant p. We have to find the value of p. So only if I find the value of p, I can multiply these 3 linear factors and I can compare the resulting expression with this, and I can get the values of b, c, and d. So for that, what I have to do? So now let's consider the fourth point over here. So far we have used only the first 3 points which are representing x-intercepts. Okay, the fourth point, 0, 2088, the x coordinate is 0 and the y coordinate is 2088. So that is when I plug in x is equal to 0, the y value in the given function will be 2088. Okay, so in the given function we have f of x. In mathematics, whenever we have a function which is represented by f of x or h of x or g of x, so they all represent y coordinate. So better we can, so for our convenience, we can replace this f of x by y. So because f of x represents y, so instead of f of x, we can write y. Now I'm going to plug in this 2088 for this y and 0 for x on the right side. Then I'm getting 2088 equals to negative, so 0 positive 12 times 0 negative 12, 0 negative p. Okay, now let me solve for p in this equation. That is 2088 equals to negative 0 positive 12 is 12 times 0 negative 12 is negative 12 times 0 negative p is just negative p. Okay, so we get 2088. So negative times negative will become positive, positive times negative will become negative. So 12 times 12 is 144, 144 times p is 144 p. Okay, now my aim is to solve for p in this equation. For that, I have to divide both sides by negative 144. Okay, let me finish writing. So this negative 144, this negative 144 will cancel out. So when I divide 2088 by 144, I am getting 14.5. And here we have negative, that should be taken over here. Here on the right side, we just have p. So now I got the value of p, that is negative 14.5. Okay, now I have to plug in p is equal to negative 14.5 into this step. So, and then I have to multiply the three factors over here, and I'll be getting an expression like this. Okay, let me continue over here. So I'm going to take this particular step. That is, in this step, we don't need y anymore. So instead of y, we can use f of x equals to, we have negative x positive 12, and then we have x negative 12, and then we have x negative p. So x negative. So in this step, I'm going to plug in negative 14.5 for this p. So negative of 14.5. Okay, let me continue over here. So f of x equals to negative x positive 12 times x negative 12 times x, and negative times negative will become positive 14.5. Okay, now I have to multiply these three factors over here. So f of x equals to, we can keep this negative as it is. Okay, now when I consider the first two linear factors, I mean x positive 12 and x negative 12, they are in the form of a positive b times a negative b. So because here instead of a we have x, instead of b we have 12. So the same thing we have over here. So here we have positive, here we have positive, here we have negative, here we have negative. So whenever I multiply two binomials in the form a positive b and a negative b, so it will result a square negative b square. Actually, it's one of the identities in algebra. So the product of these two binomials equals to a square negative b square, and the product of these two binomials is in the same form, a positive b, a negative b. So for a square b square, what do we have to write? Instead of a, so what do we have in our problem? We have x. So for a square, we have to write x square, and for b square, we have to write 12 square times. So now I got the product of these two binomials, that is x square negative 12 square. Then we have x positive 14.5. Okay, let me continue. F of x equals to negative of x square negative. So the evaluation of this 12 square is 144 times x positive 14.5. Okay, now we have to multiply these two binomials. Okay, let me do it. So f of x equals to, so now I can keep this negative sign as it is. Now let's multiply these two binomials using FOIL method. So that is, first I have to multiply the first terms x square and x. Then I'm getting x to the third part. Now I have to multiply the outer terms x square and positive 14.5. Then I'm getting positive 14.5 times x square. Now I have to multiply the inner terms, negative 144 and x. I'm getting negative 144 times x. At last I have to multiply the last terms, negative 144 and positive 14.5. So negative times positive become negative. So when I multiply 144 and 14.5, I am getting 2088. So that is negative 2088. Okay, so now, okay, I have finished multiplying the binomials over here. Now what I need to do is I have to distribute this negative sign to all the terms inside the parentheses over here. Okay, let me finish doing this. F of x equals to, so negative, when I distribute this negative sign to this x cube, it will be negative x cube, sorry. And when I distribute this negative sign to this one, it will be negative 14.5 x square. So negative times negative will become positive 144x. Negative times negative will become positive 2088. Okay, now I got the cubic function. So now we can compare the given cubic function over here, the one we got over here. So like here in the given cubic function, The coefficient of x square is b. So what is the coefficient of x square over here? It's negative 14.5. So b is equal to negative 14.5. So c is the coefficient of x, the given cubic function. So what is the coefficient of x over here? It's positive 144. So we get c is equal to positive 144. And the value of d, the constant term in the given cubic function is d. So here the constant term is 2088. So we get constant term d is equal to 2088. According to the question, we have to find the value of b positive, c positive, d. Now we have the value of b, c, and d over here. Okay, now let's find the value of b positive, c positive, d. So now we can plug in negative 14.5 for b, and for c we have to plug in 144, and for c we have to plug in 2088. Okay, now we can write this negative value as it is. So since these two values are positive, when I combine, when I add 144 and 2088, I am getting positive 2232. So when I combine negative 14.5 and positive 2232, I am getting positive 2217.5. So the value of b positive, c positive, d is 2217.5.